you need to make a presentation, and maybe you'll be inspired to go ahead and do it on your own. I think there's a lot of good information here, and when you finish my presentation, you won't be so nervous about it, and you'll have a lot better idea about how to get started and how to do some of these things. So let's go. This is a training and presentation roadmap. This is like the key or the map to building your presentation. If you can take away one thing from this, it's just the 5 words that you'll need to do. When you're working on a presentation, you need to do planning. Then you need to figure out what's your structure going to be. Is it going to be a PowerPoint? Are you going to have like handouts? Is it going to be some kind of like app that you can use on your phone that would help with the presentation? There's all kinds of ways to do it. Then very important, preparation. What are you going to do to get ready to build your presentation and make sure it's successful? And then finally, delivery. And then you can work on some of your skills. We'll talk about some of those things. And very important at the end, you want to evaluate. You want to try to figure out what happened that you expected to happen, and what happened that you didn't, and what was out of that, what was good and what was bad. So there's all kinds of things within the planning. You got your topics, what you're going to actually talk about. Knowing your audience, we'll give a little information on that. And then like who you're presenting to. Do they speak English? Do they speak Khmer? Are they older? Are they younger? Are they university students? So this all comes into their learning preferences, how they might want to learn. The structure, you can have activities, and then there's all kinds of ways and models, like I just mentioned, that you can use to build a presentation. And then preparation. You know, even when you consider preparation, like here, our environment is one that's common at the moment. We're doing a virtual meeting, a Google Meet, but a lot of times presentations are actually done in person. One key thing here is practice. I can't emphasize this enough. This will help you in so many ways with your delivery, and even down to being nervous about delivering your presentation. The more you practice, the better you'll be prepared to do it. And that comes to delivery. That'll help you with your presentation actual skills, and the more you practice, the more you can keep your mind on the things that you want to do to make your presentation better, like eye contact. And telling people what you're going to tell them, and making them that much more aware of what they're learning about. And then finally, evaluation, as we mentioned. So planning, first of all, with things to keep in mind when you're planning your presentation, first of all, you want to think about the outcome. Like today's outcome, I want you to feel better about giving a presentation, and I want you to be, I hope you will be motivated to do one. And that you will, because it is, you know, one thing that we say in English is when you don't really know something until you teach it. And so a lot of times when you present on a topic, you feel a lot more confident, and you have a much more knowledge about a topic after you presented on it. Audience analysis. You need to know who your audience is, and hopefully what their learning preferences are. We'll talk more about that. And then preparation. What can you do to prepare for your preparation, for your presentation? So, topic. This is what you're actually presenting on. This is the key thing. A lot of times this may be something that you know and that you want to present on. But a lot of times in school, especially at university, your topic is going to be something you don't know. It's going to be something assigned to you. Recently, I had to give a presentation on something I didn't know. I was called on to give a presentation on teleworking skills. And so, nobody, until a few weeks ago, really knew a lot about teleworking skills, or a month or two ago. And now we all know much more. But still, at the time, I had to really dig in, do some research, and do some work, because I didn't really know that much about it. And so what do you need to do when you don't know much? You need to research. You can also reach out to colleagues, reach out to your professors, your friends, and build and try to find avenues for research, places where you can find more information. And then, very important, in your topic, you need to know what it is that you actually want to get across. Like today, what I want to get across to you is specific presentation skills in terms of planning and delivery, and making you feel more confident in your approach to giving a presentation. And what skills are relevant to the subject matter? So like in the presentation, what skills are relevant? You want to like some things like be confident public speaking. You want to speak clearly, things like that'll help you with delivery. And then what background information or history is related to the subject matter. In this case, most of you know about presentations, but there might be other times when you want to convey, you want to tell the audience why it's important. They may not know. And then that's another way that you can connect with your audience and help them learn more about a topic. Next is the outcome. This is one of the most important parts, because this is what you want the people to walk away with. Today, I want you to walk away with better presentation skills. In my teleworking presentation, I wanted people to walk away with more ideas about how teleworking should work and ideas for helping to make it work better. So you think about that before, and this is very important to your presentation, because this is what you want to. This is the whole idea of your presentation. This is what people will get from you. And as a result, what do you want people to be able to do? Like in this case, I want you to be able to be better prepared and inspired to give a presentation. And then what attitude do you want the participants to have related to the subject? So again, in this case, I want you to have to be more confident and less nervous about giving a presentation, so you'll have a better attitude toward it when you go forward. Very important here. This is something that a lot of times they call this VAK. So there's really three basic learning styles for people. Visual, that means people want to see it. I'm very visual. You can see I like graphics. I want to see things. It helps me get a better understanding of words and topics and concepts. But there are people who need to hear things, and they're inspired by listening and and writing and those kind of exercises. And then finally, there's a lot of people who are what we call kinesthetic. Those are the people who learn best by doing something. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. 65% of the population falls into one category. Is there anybody anyone give me an idea of what category? So we had visual, we have auditory, and we have kinesthetic. Can anyone just go ahead and chime in? Let me know. Tell me what you think the number one 65% of the population, what category are they? Visual, auditory, or kinesthetic?
Could people chat the answer in the chat box?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it. I have to come out. Oh, sorry. I can't see the chat box when I'm in my presenting mode, so sorry about that. But we see it now.
Yeah.
65% of the population are visual learners. So most people in the population learn visually, and then after that, then you have kinesthetic and auditory learners. And kinesthetic learners, a lot of times these learners, they learn by doing. These are a lot of times, especially with adult groups, they prefer more active lesson or presentations. They want to learn by doing something. They want to learn by participating in projects and working together. It's very boring for them to sit and listen, whereas auditory learners would enjoy something like that. And auditory learners, these are the people who are maybe a little more introverted. They want to listen and grasp concepts in that manner, and then process the ideas and then write them down. So here we have the three learning preferences, and you can see in the visual people, they might enjoy graphs or illustrations. I know I do. They would do PowerPoints, pictures, videos, and articles. Auditory they liked one-on-one conversations, podcasts, group discussions, videos, and oral presentations. The kinesthetic people, they like moving around, like walking meetings or stand-up meetings or role plays or note-taking and hands-on things, anything that they can do, like do it yourself. They're the ones for that. So let's make a hamburger. This is your presentation. Your presentation is the same thing as a hamburger. We're going to have three parts. You're going to have a bun. We're going to have some meat and stuff inside, and then we'll have another bun. Okay? So the top bun is the introduction. As I told you before, you tell them your name, what you do, what's your presentation, and what do you want them to get from it. Go ahead and tell them that. That way they know what they're in for. You know, and I've said it here. It's the thing that we're doing today is I want you to feel, less nervous about presentations and inspired to give one yourself, and have the tools to do it. Body, the body for your for your presentation is that's just your main points. Your 5 W's, which is who, what, where, when, and why. If you have activities that you're going to include, and any kind of data or statistics that you might have. And then finally, the conclusion. That's when you wrap everything up. You get some recommendations from people, and you go for a question and answer. So, Colin, this is from Edgar Dale. Okay. I tried to get out and back in, but there it is. Practice. Practice is the number one thing that you can do. So as we practice, how do you practice? What do? You work with your family. You work with your friends. You can do it in front of the mirror. Just work through your presentation. You want to know how long it is, how much time it's going to take. You know, other methods to use. Get feedback from them. Ask your family and friends what it is that they're doing that you're doing that works and what doesn't work. So posture. This is a lot of times your body language is something you don't think about, but it says a lot. So you do want to try to begin in the front and center, but don't be, like they say, don't get married to a spot. Don't stand in one spot on the floor. Move around. It makes people more comfortable, and it helps you engage with everybody around you. You want to have good posture. You want to stand up straight. I need to work on that myself. You want to also to face the audience at all times. You never want to turn your back. It can be tempting to like look back at your presentation on the wall, but try not to do that. You want to. That's another thing that will come with practice. If you know your presentation like very well, then you won't need to turn back and look at it. You can talk through it and you know it. Don't lock your knees. That can be dangerous. And it's okay to leave your arms by your side, but it's also good to move your hands, talk with your hands. So your voice, this is very important here, as you can see. You want it to be a conversation. Yes.
Can you share slide again? Like people cannot see your slide.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm not sure what happened.
You switched the screen earlier, so you share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go back. Oh, there we are. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I'll go back in, and then I'll move it back a bit. Okay. So let's see. I'll go. Let's see.
Okay.
All right. I'll start from there. Yep. Okay. So there we go, guys. So we'll run through the posture and standing again. Begin front and center. Good posture. You want to face the audience. Don't look at your presentation behind you. Don't lock your knees. And it's okay to leave your arms by your side, but it's okay to move them around too. You want to try to use a conversational tone, but you want to speak up. You want to project your voice so people can hear you, and try to engage people. You don't want a monotone sound. You don't want to say that the sound to be the same all the time. You want your voice to change as you're talking through your points. You need to use very simple language. You don't want it to be too complicated. This comes again with your audience. You want to know their English level. You want to try to even when they do have an advanced knowledge of English, make it easier for them to understand. You don't want to make them work too hard for understanding your presentation. And you want to speak clearly. A clear speaking voice is a real asset. And then avoid filler words. You don't want to say things like like. You don't want to do that. I don't know what filler words you have in Khmer, but these are some common ones in English that we use. And then take your time and breathe when you need to. Just work through your presentation and try to relax. So what is your body language saying? These are some different body styles. This guy I think is kind of happy. This guy seems confident. When your arms are crossed, you might be people might be a little bit afraid that you're not happy about something. This guy seems a little disappointed or upset, and then she seems like maybe she's doubtful, like she doesn't trust. So eye contact. You want to maintain eye contact with your audience, but move around and look at different people, and for not too long for each person. You want to dress appropriately. And with your dress, it comes down to things like your hair. You want to keep that out of your face. People want to see your face when you're presenting to them. I recommend that you have empty pockets when you go in front of a group. That way people aren't wondering what items, what's in that guy's shirt pocket. There's something flopping around there. You want to go up there. You want to have no distractions. You don't want a phone pinging in your pocket. You keep your jewelry simple. If it's too flashy, people are looking at your jewelry and not at you. And you should be the focus because you're giving the presentation. And wear comfortable shoes. You don't want to be standing up there in front of people struggling because your feet hurt. So what makes you nervous? There's a lot of things that make people nervous in presentations. I know for me, a lot of times it can be that I'm going to leave something out or I'm going to mess something up. But, if you really think about it, you can always go back if you leave something out, and you're probably not going to mess something up. So managing nerves and anxiety, what you can do before, instead of this guy, poor guy, can't even drink his water. Practice. That's like we said before, what's the number one way you can go into your presentation well prepared is to practice. Visualize success. Try to imagine yourself in front of the group giving the presentation at the end and everything went perfectly. Just imagine that and try to make that your goal and you can see it. We say in English sometimes, if you can see it, you can be it. Then think positive thoughts. This goes back to visualization. Don't dwell on the negative. Don't worry too much about things. Think positive thoughts. You can, again, breathe, relax, and maybe, before you start, take some deep breaths. I like this one. Arrive early to greet participants. This will help put you at ease, too, because you start to talk to people before the presentation. You see them as humans. You see them as friends. You see them as colleagues. You see the learning environment. And if anything isn't right, you have time to fix it. You're not scrambling at the end trying to figure out what to do. So, and then acknowledge, just make sure it's normal to have to be a little bit nervous. So don't let that kind of get bigger and bigger. It's okay to be nervous. Just don't let it take over everything. Okay? So how do you manage your nerves and anxiety during a presentation? You breathe. Yeah, that's one of the key things. If you feel yourself getting nervous and it's running away from you, take a step back, take a breath, and then continue. Identify your audience friends and focus on them. This is, again, when you show up early, you meet a few people, then you can come back and you can say, oh, I know Sochita is a big fan of, Post Malone. And so you can work with your friends into your presentation on what I know. Sochita, she always gives presentations to groups, so she is an expert on presentation skills. So you bring those people into your presentation, and it will help you share the workload of your presentation. And remember, your audience is there because they believe in you. They believe that you are the expert, and they're there to see you. And don't worry if mistakes happen, and you don't need to apologize. Just if you realize it during the presentation, make the correction. But your audience will forgive you. Don't worry about it. And stay focused on the tasks on your presentation. Don't worry about yourself. That'll help you manage during the presentation. All right. So now we're at the end, and I just welcome any feedback that you have and any questions, because this is the last part of the roadmap is feedback. This helps you to improve your performance and improve your presentation skills as you move forward. You can take feedback from groups and presentations and try to incorporate it into future ones to do a better job. So I'm going to slide out here. Okay. All right. Any questions? Oh, we got a lot of chat. Ooh. Sorry. All right. Any questions, anybody?
Sir, can you please tell me again about audience analysis?
Audience analysis, sure. I think, one thing you got to think about your delivery. What platform you're going to use? Is it going to be virtual? Is it in person? But audience analysis, I think a lot of times, if you can, like I said, 65% of people are visual learners. I think this is very, very much true in Cambodia as well. We've seen it in public affairs programs, especially with graphics and posts on Facebook. They get a lot more likes if they have a picture, or especially a moving picture. So I think if you can start from there. Start from that point that you're going to be more successful with a visual program, things that people can see. But then branch out from that. And one thing I know with adult learners, maybe people over 30 years old, they already know a lot about a lot of stuff, right? They've been around, they especially, so they'll really benefit on getting to do stuff, to actually work in a group, to complete a project, or have an activity. So I think when you know what kind of groups you have, then you can move forward with the development of your presentation. But and some presentations may be more formal. You may have your boss's boss at a presentation. You have to tell everyone about a new program for your work. I think you can still do it very visually, but maybe in those cases, activity might not be the best. But you can't always say, you could still work something in it, but it might be a little more difficult in that case, in a more formal setting, to do an activity. And it might need to just be more visual or auditory, more hearing based. Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah? All right. I think we have one question from Chris. How can we get attention from people who don't know why they are here? For example, we are presenting to a group of students who had been sent by their school. Well, I think one way is right from the beginning that you grab them with what kinds of visual things that you can get them with, and then you maybe have an activity right up front that gets their attention and also explains to them why they're here. What are they here to learn about? I think the sooner you do that, that's really important to a group that is there because they have to be. I have to do some presentations at the embassy on they're kind of boring topics, but everybody has to learn about it because it's U.S. policy. But we try to do some fun things in the beginning to learn about some human concepts some human things that are affected by these policies. And I think it's helpful, and it helps people understand why it's important. So maybe fun activity in the beginning to help people and grab their attention and let them know what it is that you're doing. Okay. Anybody else? Any more questions?
If nobody.
Hey, Darren. Yes?
How about using language during we do our presentation? You mentioned already we have to use the simple language. And regarding my first question about audience analysis, so in order to know about who's our audience, so we use the language in order to explain them. Is it right or not, sir? You get my question?
Yeah, I think the audience language is first of all, it's always good to keep it simple, as in my opinion, because you want to engage your audience. You want them to have a friendly relationship with your presentation. So easier, simple, more friendly language. If you, and a lot of times in an international setting, you may need to adjust your language to fit your audience because their English skills may not be advanced. So you want to have the right level of English for your audience. Is that everything that you asked? I'm not sure if I missed something.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay. And I see Mohammed had a question about, can I ask the audience while doing the presentation? Oh, sorry. And that was that. And you also had a question about what's the benefit of using friends in our presentation. So that in the friends part is that helps. That does two things. You're pulling the audience in to your presentation when you reach out there and say, hey, Darren, can what I know you like to exercise every day. Can you tell me more about what you do to exercise? If you're doing a presentation about exercising, this it not only helps you by helping you relax and to connect with the audience, but it helps your audience connect to you because you're talking to one of them and specifically, and you know that person in the audience. So that'll really, that's what really makes the connection to people instead of an audience. Does that help? I see Mitona, she has a question. Oh. All right.
Thank you so much, sir. That's really helpful.
Okay. So in the let's see, in the end of the presentation there'll be Q&A. So what if the audience doesn't have any questions? So if the audience doesn't have any questions, that's all right. That's all right too. You can try, if you have any friends in the audience, you can try to pull some questions out of your friends that you like we talked about before. You could say, Mitona, what did you think about the concept of learning preferences? Which learning preference are you? And then you can start working through that, and maybe you'll get more questions. So Mitona, what is your learning preference? Are you visual, auditory, or kinesthetic?
That's visual.
All right. Any more questions from anybody?
Hi, Craig. So there are a couple more questions in the chat box. From Laden Rod, could you have explained again about how we can do to present our new project?
Can I explain again about which one?
Can do to present our new projects. I just
how we
question. His question.
Okay. How we can do to present our new project? Well, I think if I'll show you. let me go back to the presentation. I'll give you one slide. And I have to go to presenting again. Sorry, I'm going to do that. Where is it? Okay. Oh, there we go. I'll show you one slide. This is the key. This, like I said, is the roadmap, and this is how you get started and where it all happens. And so, sorry. Yeah. From current slide. All right. So this is how you get started and how you build your presentation. So this is, again, we'll do the short version. Plan. So these are things about knowing that the outcomes, your audience, what are the preferences. Structure. How are you going to do it? Is it going to be formal, informal? Is it online, in person? Preparation. What materials do you need? What's the learning environment going to be? How are you going to practice? Delivery. What are your? A lot of this is going to be determined by your structure and where you're delivering your program from, and then finally evaluation at the end. Okay. Stop that. All right. Anyone else? Any more questions? All right. Well, I think if that's it, Suchita, we'll say goodbye. I just wrote one more thing. Again, I want to thank you all for participating in the American Center. It's a great program. It's a great way for us to reach out. Even now, with social distancing, we can still connect virtually, and I think you can build a lot of soft skills that will help you as you move into your professional life. And then, I know there's a lot of interest from what we've seen in the American Center programs and people developing soft skills. So if you have any ideas about things you'd like to learn about, please share them with Suchita. Maybe we can put a program together for that. But also, please connect with the American Center. So please make sure that you like the American Center on Facebook. And then we'll all be in touch. We'll all be connected, and we'll all be able to share our ideas and build skills. All right. Is there anything else, Suchita? All right. Thank you. Have a great day, guys.